Hello, boys and girls. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to the cafe, guys. It is tea time. We are hanging out with author Kwana Jackson, boys and girls, the Midnight Ace of Midnight Ace Book Bar, and we're hanging out with Milana Platt on today as well, guys, bringing you the tea of Not Again by Kwana Jackson. So, hello, everybody. I am super duper excited. I am fangirling, trying to get myself together that I get to hang out with Kwana Jackson and I get to hang out with Book Nerdigans, Midnight Ace, and Marlena. This is super duper exciting. So thank all of you guys for joining us today. And of course, guys, stop what you're doing, like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to come over to the cafe because it's tea time with Kwana Jackson and our friends on today. Guys, you know how we do it here on Tea Time. We're going to introduce ourselves, tell you what we are wearing and what we are drinking on today. And I'm going to start with Midnight Ace, a book bar. Hey, my lady friend.
Hey guys. So I am rocking my Get Lit shirt, just old school. I am Midnight Ace, CEO and founder of the Midnight Ace Book Bar and a custom creator. And today I am drinking out of my very own cup. It says it's a good day to write. And then in your book buddy journal. So yeah, so I am excited to be here.
Congratulations.
Kwana, I saw you a little bit earlier this year, and this book hadn't dropped yet, and so now it's dropped. I've read it, so I'm ready to talk about it.
I love that. I love that. At midnight, what did you say you're drinking today?
Oh, I did not say what I'm drinking. I'm being very good today. I am loving this apple cider with a little bit of a cinnamon stick in it. So, tis the season.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Next up, guys, is Marlena Platt. Introduce yourself, my friend. Tell us what you're wearing and what you're drinking today.
Hey, everybody. I'm Marlena. I'm just a fellow book nerd. But today I am drinking iced coffee.
All right.
And I also have Mountain Dew. I'm not being good like you, Midnight. I'm sorry. And I have on my shirt, you can't see it. It says, I got that WAP wine and paperback. So.
Oh, okay. I like
that.
I love it. I love it. And of course, guys, boys and girls, I am Angela Anderson of Angela Anderson Presents. I'm rocking my t-shirt today, Angela Anderson Presents. And y'all know this is one of my favorite book mugs. It says, yes, I really do need all of those books. That describes me to the T. So that is what I am drinking. And of course, y'all know it's hot lemon tea, what I'm drinking today. Guys, our honoree for today is author Kwana Jackson. Introduce yourself to the people, my friend. What are you wearing? What are you drinking?
Thank you so much for having me. Well, I am author Kwana Jackson, aka KM Jackson. I am the author of, under Kwana Jackson, of Real Men Knit and Not Again, which we'll talk about today, under KM Jackson, the author of, I think, 11 other books, something like that. My latest book is How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days,
yes,
under KM Jackson. So just call me Kwana. If you look that up, both names will come up. I'm like Kelly Mills and the parents.
I love that. Well, author Kwana Jackson, welcome to the cafe, my friend.
Just for you all, my Not Again
All
t-shirt.
right.
Yes.
I was like, where is that shirt that I got made so long ago? Pulled it out for you. I am drinking my usual drink of all day, every day. It's either this or Diet Coke, but I am drinking coffee light and sweet, as New Yorkers do. In every deli, we go in and order light and sweet or either black. It's light and sweet for me out of my
love that
mug. But I had to show off a few of my other favorite mugs. So I
okay.
For you all. I also have a favorite Keanu mug.
Okay.
I love it.
And another new favorite mug that I just got recently is my Beverly Jenkins mug. I wanted to show it off because
that is
I
super
adore
cool.
Miss Bev. I'm like such a fangirl, so I wanted to show that out and show it off today. So
nice.
Look, Kwana, we're fangirling just looking at your mug. Now that's a mug to have. Wow.
So I wanted to, I like to show it. I like to show off some of my favorite mugs whenever I can. So
I love that.
But I'm
I
drinking
love
out
that.
of my Real Men Knit mug, and check out the Timbs on it. It's
nice.
cool.
Now, Kawana, for the Real Men Knit mug, was that a mug that you had like in a book box or something like that, or no? That's what you that you created when you started this series.
This is one I created when I started the series. It was a gift to myself. I think I did it before the book came out.
Okay.
It was a gift to myself. As soon as the artwork was done, I was so in love with the artwork for the cover. We really Berkeley, I have to say, I'll just show off my covers here again.
Nice.
Berkeley was so fantastic with these covers. It's like my friends are like, the cover gods were good to you, and I'm like, they really were. Just the boot on the Timberland on the cover and the little yarn heart and everything. I was so in love with that. I mean, you guys know, we fill out, as authors, we fill out cover sheets and all this stuff, and we send them all these suggestions, and you have a little input, but not really. You get what you get, kind of. Don't get upset, but you do get upset. But they were really very collaborative and sent me lots of art. And we talked about colors a lot. And I have a fashion background, so they really, really talked to me about what I wanted for that cover. And when it came together, I couldn't have been happier, because I know cartoon covers can be kind of controversial when it comes to rom-coms and romance, and it's very hard, but that is by far, people always ask me what's your favorite book, which I will not answer because I'm a fan, but I will say that Real Men Knit is definitely by far my favorite cover that I've ever gotten, because it was just a joy from start to finish working with them to get the cover. And it just feels so New York, but feels like the story. So I just love it. So as soon as the cover art was finalized, Costco was doing these mugs where you can get on a mug. So I just got it as a gift to myself at Costco, and the mugs were not expensive.
And see, guys, she is spilling a little bit of tea. Yes, I love that. I love that.
Heavyweight mug, and it's dishwasher safe. So I will give it to Costco for that if anybody wants to order a mug for themselves. It's a great heavy mug that keeps your coffee warm. So
I love that. Now, Kawana, speaking of the covers, because both of the covers are great, by the way, Real Men Knit and Not Again.
I love Not Against too. They were also collaborative on that one too. I really, really enjoy it. Really love them both.
Now, question for you. So when they did the first cover for Real Men Knit, did they also show you this one, or no? You didn't see this cover until it was time?
Way later, after the book was, it was after the book was done, and we had a really good, not done, but a really, good head start on it, and the story and the premise was getting going. Not until well into at least a good portion of the story. They didn't start the artwork until a good portion of the story was done. I had to at least have the synopsis done and the gist of it, because they couldn't do the cover without knowing. It's about it's not really friends to lovers, and it's not enemies to lovers. It's sort of a second chance romance, and set because you have little bits of the laundromat in it, plus the knitting. We knew it was a knitting series stories, but they wanted to add the elements of the laundromat, and it's interracial. So they needed to know more about the story. They couldn't just run with it,
Even though nailed it. I love both covers, but they nailed it.
Yeah, but they did nail it, but they had to know more of what it was going to be before they could start it.
Yeah, and I like the two of them together. And of course, I'm gonna allow Midnight and Merlana to share their thoughts on the cover as well. But yeah, it's one of those covers, just like Real Men Knit, that captures your attention. I love the color, the royal purple, the teal, or all that, and then them at the bottom. It's just super cute. I love it. They nailed it. Midnight or Merlana, what's your thought?
Her hair properly for me. I was like, you gotta get a little curlier. Gotta go. They gotta go a little darker with the complexion. Like we were like down to contrasting the needle colors to making sure everything. So,
look, I guess it's, as they say, it's in the details.
It's
definitely in the details.
And they know I can be a little bit of a stickler, but it's really nice. I have to say, Penguin Creative are, they are, not haphazard with it, which is, it's nice to see that, because sometimes it can be, rushed or something like that. And timings makes those things rush, but they really do care about that part of it. They care about their work, which is important, because as writers, we care about our work too. So
And I love that. And you're kind of sharing a little bit about it now. Shay Baby wanted to know, did you have any input on the cover, like the color concept, etc.? Did you, again, with those details, is this information that you sent to them?
I did.
In addition with them having, the synopsis and stuff like that.
I did. I sent them very much in the beginning. I sent them lots of pictures. I do Pinterest boards for all of my books because I'm a very visual person. From my fashion days, I need that kind of stuff just for myself to reference back to. So I sent them my Pinterest boards, and they asked for cover story sheets too. They want to know age, hair color, eye color, even though those things might not come up in the covers, but where's the locations, all that kind of stuff, and so that the artists have something to go off of in the beginning to show you concepts.
Nice. So it's almost like they are well informed about the book, about the story,
they want a back cover copy and things like that. Yeah, they want as much as possible to start with, so that they're not just going into it with just the title.
Well, you guys know, y'all already know, I am a book cover nerd. I love book covers, especially those covers that capture your attention or what have you. And sometimes I can look at a cover and I'm like, you know what, I gotta have it. I don't even know what the book is about, but I gotta have it. Or what have you too. Midnight, what are your thoughts when you saw this cover of Not Again, my friend?
Yeah, I love the colors. The colors of the cover, the whole entire cover, the art and everything stands out right away. And I think yours was maybe the first one that I really paid attention to with this, like the cover art, the way it is, kind of like the cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
It does not take away from it being like an adult book or anything like that. And the just to look at it, like you're gonna pick it up. You're gonna pick it up whether or not you want to know, whether or not you know what the story about is, anything. But I loved it, and you nailed it on the first one with those Tims for me, and the knitting needles, and then and Not Again. I love how this particular one you're doing them together with him, sort of, because that whole knitting thing was what actually like calmed both of them down in this particular story, because she needed to learn how he taught her and everything. So that cover with the two of them together was just perfect with that.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the
I'll say thank you for the creative people who did it.
Yeah.
Marlana, what's your thoughts on that cover, my friend?
Okay, so I have a lot, but I'll keep it at a minimum. My family calls me extra, and so the colors on this cover, listen, I love bright colors. And so this is like me. The only thing, when I saw the Tims on the first one, I said, so why couldn't we have a picture of Jordans? Because I'm a Jordan girl.
Oh.
And, Lucas always wore Jordans. So I'm like, why couldn't I see a picture of Jordans? But
yes,
I will say,
we do have copyright situations.
Okay, well, I mean, okay,
the Tims were pushing it. You notice there's no logos or anything like
right. But
we did try sneakers on the other ones, and when you don't really have the right sort of things, they kind of look they come out looking a little weak. I will tell you, there is a reason for that. We had some guys with sneakers on the other ones, and when they aren't drawn properly and don't get the branding right, when you say Jordans, like they come out weak.
Gotcha.
I got it.
You know what I mean? So it's sort of like you got, I'm going to age myself by saying it's sort of like you got skips.
Gotcha. Okay, we understand. We got
I need the right artist to draw them right, so it looks like Jordans, so they know.
So they look like Jordans, but they're not.
But they're not. To not get sued.
Right. But
get permission. I mean, it might cost something.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah. The hair though, I don't know what it was, but the detail of her hair, no, it's like it was perfect to me, because when you, in the beginning of the book, not to get into the book too much yet, but when you were describing how tight her braids were, I'm like,
we definitely gonna talk about that.
Any Black woman can relate. So the hair on the cover for me was like everything, like natural hair. I just loved it.
Oh,
so yeah, I'm gonna keep it at that, because I could keep going, but I won't.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like that. And so some people might be like, "Oh, she got into too much," but it was
No,
important.
No,
no, we're
uh-uh.
gonna definitely talk
Yeah.
Has
about
gone
that
natural in
as well.
the
That was
past
one
few
of the things
years,
I
and
enjoyed too was the detail.
always wore braids. You know how that is. Those first few days are like, or when you take your hair out and it's like the relief of taking your hair out, but then you want to put your hair back, your braids back in, but you're like, but I'm sleeping too good right now. So, when do I do? It's a whole thing. Black women understand.
Yes, yes. Boys and girls, if you are just joining us, I'm hanging out with Kwana Jackson, Midnight Ace Book Bar, and Milana Platt. Guys, we're getting ready to get into the tea of Not Again. We just got finished talking about this amazing cover. She showed us also the cover of the first book in the series, that is Real Men Knit. And so, Kwana, before we get into Not Again, for those who may not be familiar with this series, can you give them a little backstory on Real Men Knit, and then bring us up to Not Again, if you can?
I can. Real Men Knit, we can put them together as the kind of Real Men Knit series, is the story of four brothers, Jesse, Lucas, Noah, and Damien, who are all adopted by the same foster mother, Mama Joy. And I'm giving nothing away when I say Mama Joy suddenly passes away of a heart condition. And when she passes away, they're trying to figure out what to do with the knitting shop she owns in Harlem. In the first book, Real Men Knit, Jesse, who is the most, I will say, unlikely brother to want
Right.
to run a shop, wants to keep the shop open because he is the baby and the most baby by Mama Joy. He doesn't really have his life together or things like that. Doesn't have a career. He wants to keep the shop open. The other brothers have different ideas and they don't think Jesse can handle it. But he has to prove that he can handle it and keep the shop open with the help of Carrie, a long time shop assistant who's had a crush on him. So that's their story, along with the brothers helping out. The shop really means everything to the brothers and a lot to the community. It's a place of gathering for a lot of people, and a place that, the boys grew up in and learned to love there and learn to be a family there. And they're four hot brothers from Harlem who knit. So this is the series about each of them finding love, going through grief and things like that. I'm a native New Yorker and born and raised in Harlem and Washington Heights. So this series is very near and dear to my heart. So somebody tagged it community fiction or community romance, which I think is a good tag for it, because it's definitely romance, but it's also very much about the community and things like that. So it's romance that sort of goes a little bit into women's fiction, and very much into community. So that's the story of Real Men Knit, and it goes into Not Again, which is Lucas's story, the firefighter brothers. And Not Again is the story of another brother, Lucas, who is a firefighter, and he works in the neighborhood. I sort of said it there where I grew up. Like I said, I grew up in Harlem, Central Harlem. There was a firehouse right in between the projects. So I sort of, in my mind, he's working at that firehouse. And Lucas is very much the Boy Scout brother, seems to have it all together. And in Not Again, you kind of learn that maybe Lucas doesn't have it all together, and it's kind of all a mask that he's putting on. And this is a story of him and a sort of his pining love for the girl who got away and is now back home. And she works at her family's laundromat across the street. So
I love that. And
a good synopsis.
You kind of, in giving us
off the cuff, you can see I don't practice this.
Look, I don't know about Midnight and Marlena, but in giving us that description, like, I have so many things going in my head that I want to like talk about. Like, one, when you were saying, like, he's kind of wearing a mask. People kind of perceive him a certain way, and we know that Sid is wearing a mask. Like, she got a whole bunch of stuff that she's kind of, yes,
very much wearing a mask.
as well. So I definitely want to talk about that.
I modeled Sid after I consider Sid very much wearing a mask. She's the girl from Harlem, but the mask she's wearing is pretty much like she's like a real housewife of Potomac is what I would consider Sid. She's very much like, she put on this sort of persona. She's like, she's got it all together like a real housewife of Potomac. But in her heart of hearts, she's very much a total Harlem girl,
I
trying
was
to keep
about
it
to
all
say the same
together.
thing.
And she just, she wishes she could just, let her hair down and let it all down, but she just can't.
Yes, yes. And before we're gonna start a little bit at the beginning because we definitely have to talk about that laundromat scene and with the braids and all of that. But I want to get Midnight and Marlana's. What was your thoughts of Sid as well? But I did think that too, that she was through and through. She was a Harlem girl at heart. But even with Sid, some of the things from I guess her childhood, or especially with the individuals that was like controlling factors in her life, that kind of shaped her a little bit of being the way that she was, or what have you. But we'll start with Marlana. What was your thoughts about Sid?
So I'll start out by saying she was very much relatable. I don't know if it's like the millennial type vibe that I got from her, but how we as millennials, we have in our mind that by the time we're 30, we should have our life together and we should be well put together, and we got to put this show on for social media. And so I loved her. She aggravated me a little bit with, in being indecisive, but I loved that I could see myself and my sisters and people I know in her, and that we all feel like by 30, we just have to be at a certain point. And if we're not there, or if things don't work out like we wanted to, expected to, planned it to, then we feel like failures, which leads to her not really knowing which way to go, not knowing how to feel about things. So I loved Sydney. So yeah.
I'm so glad you do, and it excites me that you that you say that. I wish my daughter could hear. I'm gonna replay this one portion back to her, so she'll teach me about anything else. But yes, she's very much. I have 28-year-old twins. She's very much on this 30 kick, but I'm 28. I'm like, okay, so
Right.
okay. I am. I don't want to say, well, everybody knows my age. I'm over 50 and I don't have it. Nobody has it. We're all just doing the best we can. I often get, and it's okay. The indecisiveness is fine. I often get criticized for my heroines being indecisive and not having things together and going back and forth.
She wasn't the
That's fine with
worst.
me because I write them that way on purpose, because I am an indecisive person. I'm a Gemini, first of all. So, catch me. I might give a whole different interview tomorrow. That's okay. But I often try to show I'm going to keep holding my books up so people understand it's two people. In How to Marry Keanu, my heroine is 40. She's older. And she's a wild Keanu fan who goes on a quest to stop his wedding. And he's been our North Star, but she's 40, unmarried, kind of doesn't have things together. And people have criticized her a lot, saying, well, how can she do this? How could she not want to get married, not want to have kids, and be like this wild artist and stuff? And well, what's wrong with that? There are plenty of people 40, don't have kids, and are happy with their lives, and artists and things. Why do we all have to feel like we have to have everything together by this certain point? It's a lot of pressure put on women. People question her not having kids and this and the other thing. And we're like, she needs to be in a psych ward. And look, I'm like, this is a lot. This is, these things that we put on women, on ourselves, these pressures really can send us to the loony bin, and it's a bit too much, like I tell my kids, I'm like, first of all, we've been in a whole pandemic, so let's chop a few years off of that. And second of all, just don't do it to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been married 30 something years, God bless your father, love him, he's great, but still there are things, life could be different. There's joys everywhere. Just live your life and don't put so much. And I've also learned, I used to put plenty of pressure on my mother to be like, why don't you have the answers? Why don't you know everything? And the older I get, the more I realize I should have forgiven her more. She was doing the best she could. She was a young mom doing the best she could. So I do write indecisive heroines and heroes too at times, but indecisive heroines. And the fact that I get criticized for them a lot and I still do it, I think I do it for a reason. I must be doing it for a reason. And I think I do it a little bit as forgiveness for myself, but also as maybe a lesson for my readers, and probably though, since I'm getting much older, younger readers, maybe a little bit younger than me, to sort of be like, just forgive yourself. It'll be okay.
It'll be
You
okay.
know,
I
especially
love it.
social media, which we know is fake
Mhm.
and we know is all filtered. You know, people go into debt that way and stressing themselves out. It's fine, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
it
glad you
works
said
here.
that.
It works here though because it shows you like just how you might not have it together in your life. You know, this person is not always what it seems. So it
It's
worked her
not.
going back and forth because, she developed in that she had to eventually make a decision. And so she
Yeah.
had to keep going
Yeah.
back and forth. So, I wanted to shake her, but it worked in her development. She had to do that. She had to go through those things in order to get where she was.
To get where she,
Yeah.
to stand
Yes.
up on her own
Guys,
two
if
feet and
you
be
are
like, you know
just
what?
I'm
I
sorry.
gotta
Go
do
ahead.
what I gotta do. Yeah. And those
Yeah.
lessons are sometimes hard and painful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, if you're just
Thank
joining us,
you for
we're
that.
hanging out with Kwana Jackson, guys, and Midnight Ace Book Bar and Marlena Platt. And guys, we're talking about Not Again. I haven't forgotten about you, Midnight, to share with us your
No.
thoughts about Sid as well. Guys, you know how we do it here at the cafe. If you have a question or you have something in the book that you definitely want us to talk about, put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to include you. Midnight, you are up, girl. What was your thoughts of Sid?
Yeah, I do agree with a lot with what Milana said, but then also too, Sid she had she had the influence of her mother too, so she did not want to make the same mistakes her mother's did. So like
Yeah.
what you were saying, KM, about like the pressures that we put on our kids or the lack thereof, we should, but she had it both ways. She had the peer pressure that she
Mhm.
had of growing up and wanting to be married and having kids by a certain time, and then she had her mother was like, you don't want to be alone, you need to have this man with you to take
Yes.
care of you and that kind of thing like that. So you know you wrote her perfectly because she was just like spinning on her axles about her
Poor
life.
thing.
And
Poor
then
thing.
but then I do think that anytime you have a person that is like that, you need that friend that
Yeah.
she had that
Mhm.
kind of balance you and just like, yeah, no, girl, don't worry about that, because the friend she did the very opposite of what Sydney did, and it worked out okay
Yeah.
for her too.
She
She
did.
wasn't married. I mean, she was broken up
Mhm.
from her daughter's father, but it still worked for her. So you gave us really a snapshot of how two separate people can do one lifestyle. Another lifestyle is still not perfect, but it still works,
But she's
right?
still working it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think for
Yeah.
Sydney, her strength came from her grandfather and that laundromat. I
Yeah.
think it's like
Yeah.
those small town stories when you come home to heal kind of thing. I think that's what you wrote in that, and I love all the scenes in that laundromat because it was just
Yes.
healing. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
and
I'm
I'm glad
glad
that
you like
Midnight
it.
said
It
the
seems like, it
laundromat, because
probably
guys,
seems like a strange
we
place
gotta
to
talk
like
about
find
that
a
first.
healing in the laundromat, but
Right. I mean, it is, but I will say, like Milana,
all neighborhoods need a laundromat.
that is true. But you wore me out with a couple. Oh my goodness, that back and forth. Every time they came this close and then they went this way, I was just like, I wanted to they were like
Like,
it's
really?
spinning in the dryer. Like, oh my goodness. I was like, are they gonna get together by the end of the book?
Did it
Oh
was
my goodness.
more
Yeah,
three
it
quarters. It was
did.
about 3/4. It wasn't that long. It was about 3/4.
Look, and speaking on that, I wanna talk about two scenes, and they're these two scenes at the beginning of the book. So first, okay, you won't plan, Kawana, when you open the book. That Michelle character, I was cracking up. I was like, okay, can you try any harder?
She was
I
trying
mean,
hard.
she was flirting, but I was like, but Dad, can you? What are y'all thoughts about that? That the way that she opened, the way that she opened the book, it was just like, I was like, it was almost like desperation, and then she was just doing the most.
No,
Well,
she
I
did
really
the most, and she
she
was,
did do the most. Well,
yeah,
I
she
had her doing a lot more, and it was kind of little secret. It was kind of cut. I had her doing a lot more, and I had Lucas. It was a very different. I will give you a huge
Oh,
secret.
we getting the tea, boys and girls.
This is. I don't think I've ever said this. I will give you this book was written and then rewritten. This book was written and rewritten. It was a pandemic book, and it was very hard to write. Very hard, and honestly, very painful to write. And maybe it was very painful to write because it was during the pandemic, and I was going through a lot of stuff with fears and different things. And like everybody, we didn't know where we would be when the book came out. So originally I had like glimmers of the pandemic or after pandemic in the book, and then I had to rewrite things. So it was just very weird. I had Lucas a little bit more playboyish than he was originally. So different things happened with Michelle in the beginning of the book.
Look, Midnight and Milana, is there any way we can get a copy of that deleted scene?
No.
Right.
Maybe.
You know what though? My imagination had already went there.
Yeah,
different
things had happened.
It went there because we didn't really know, other than his struggles with losing Mama Joy, we didn't really know who Lucas was at that point. Right. We knew who Jesse was. And so he was Jesse's brother, and they did grow up together. So my mind went there. My mind went there for that scene there. My mind said, this is what I thought. I thought at some point he did, and then he didn't want to no more. And then here she was still trying to get more. That was my thought process. She was kind of
strong.
And she was
did say those exact words that you really are a little SH this. But she said them from a different location. She said them from a different location.
Look, guys, and that's the first.
I didn't go that deep.
She said him from a different location, and he was leaving her bed. That's what he was leaving her bed. Lucas,
see, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, Lucas was kind of Lucas was originally kind of a bit more of a player, and that was this other mask, this other dark side of Lucas. yeah.
But didn't Lucas have an issue with what got Lucas in trouble was so they were doing the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. But then he went on a job, and something happened where did someone kiss him or he kissed someone?
No, so the girl that worked with Carrie, who was always doing cultural appropriation stuff, she grabbed him and like kissed him, and it was like caught on camera and stuff like that. People caught it on camera. And things like that. But like he was like low key, like during his grieving time, like really like kind of being a dog dating around and stuff like that. And I think there might be a line still in there when he's like dancing at the club at the auction. One of the girls mentioned something about his like he's been like, kind of a player while she's been out of town or something like that. It is hinted at that he's been getting around and stuff, but I changed the whole opening.
Milana, what was your thoughts of that?
After I looked back at it, I was like, is this really Lucas? I don't know. So he does resist her and stuff like that, but I still wanted to like show how hot Lucas is and stuff, that she was like really coming on to him and things like that. So I wanted to like really give a good description of how hot he is and this and that, and then make him a little bit more stand up, a little bit more, not much, but a little bit more. So I just showed that he was very tired from work, and so, but yeah, it was a little bit different. I rewrote the opening so many times.
Out there was a whole nother opening to this book. Orlando, what was your thoughts of the opening?
So if you guys can see, I actually have tabs in my book, right?
Oh my goodness.
So, listen, this book was hilarious. So I just had to, underline my favorite parts. But on the part with Michelle, I wrote on my sticky, I said, Michelle trying to get it. Because she was really trying. And Midnight brought up the scene with the lady who kissed him. Mm-hmm. I thought that scene was gonna go different. With people taking pictures of them or whatever. I thought that was gonna be a big to do. But Michelle was like persistent. I'm like, girl, calm down.
I took some of her out. She had a little bit more. She was trying to get it because in my mind she had it before. She didn't give it.
Right. Well, in my mind, she had
It
it
had it
before
before and she
too.
wanted some more.
See, I think it's because I think Midnight is because you know me and you know me a few years, and you were probably like, "I bet you, she does something here." I
But
think
you
you
know
know
what
how I
though?
think.
I'm gonna say this about that.
You've been
So
reading my work
Sydney,
for a while.
I have, but this is a little different though. But this is my thing. So when we got a little bit further on in the book and we got to really know Sydney and Lucas, both of them were very indecisive about their lives.
Hmm.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason, right? They both had some tragedies in there.
Hmm.
But when I was thinking back to the scene with um I think it was Michelle. What I was thinking about with this was scene with that, it's like he when they said when Sydney, he couldn't pull the trigger
Hmm.
on what he
Ooh.
felt about her. So, she just thought, it wasn't nothing there and she went on with this life. But had he said something, then, it probably would have been a different ending. And I was thinking that he was probably the same way with her too. So
Yes.
I'm thinking like, yeah, he hit it. Yeah, it was good, but we wasn't gonna, wasn't gonna be my life's, journey with you. So like, I don't want to do this no more. She was very, very determined. And she did get desperate at the end because she was just saying, well, that's why, now she's, throwing shade at him, you know.
Hmm.
So I did think that was that's why I thought what was happening. He probably at some point had been with her and then didn't want to be with her, but then he couldn't tell her because he doesn't know how to like express himself,
Yeah.
right?
He's
He
very
was a
bad
Midnight.
at
wounded.
I'm gonna I was
I was just
about to
gonna say
say
he was a
I had
wounded
to
one.
find that. I'm gonna read that because when I read that line, okay, Kwana, that was one of those lines you read where you be like, ooh, like that line, girl, you wrote that. I mean, that little one. I was like, ooh. So anyway, guys, it says Michelle continued talking half of knitting and the rest of his inability to knit or get off the pot, so to speak. She let out a frustrated snort. But it's your loss, dude. I was sending out all the signals. She gave him an up and down, lingering more on the down than the up. And you couldn't pull the trigger and just make your move. Lucas didn't know what to say by the way of a comeback to that one, not even to himself. Couldn't pull the trigger and just make your move. Michelle surprised him by how perfectly she hit the nail that had been squarely on the head of his most recent thoughts. Instinctively, his gaze went toward the 24-hour laundromat across the street, full of rickety machines, but mostly full of memories of his past regrets and missed opportunities. But yeah,
Hmm.
that line about the
I'm
pulling
like,
the
who
trigger,
wrote that?
that was one of those that was one of those lines where you like, ooh, let me reread that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
That summed him
yes. So
up
Midnight, I'm
basically.
glad that
That
you brought
That
line
that
there.
does
up.
sum him up. That's him. That's
Yeah,
him. Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
He's
look,
just
let's take it
always
to
feeling
let's finally get in the
stuck.
laundromat.
He's always
And
felt
so
like
in the laundromat,
a
go
day
ahead.
late. You know what I mean? Like a day late and a dollar short. Like late from his mother, late with Mama Joy, late with Sid, and just, letting the women that he really loved go by missing them. Just barely
Mm-hmm.
missing them and
Mm-hmm.
losing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And poor thing.
Yeah.
Poor
but
thing. It makes me
can
want
I?
to
And it
cry.
was almost like even though she was doing the most, when she said that statement, it was almost like he had a pause moment, like
Yeah.
that was like, ooh, like you know what? She just
Mhm.
kind of described me to the T of what I'm
Yeah.
going on right now, and she didn't even know it. But
Yeah.
yeah, he kind of had a moment or what have you. So, ladies, let's take it to the laundromat. He gets to the laundromat because by this time, guys, Sid is back in town. He don't know it yet, or at least he hadn't let her know that he know it yet or whatever, that she's back in town. And she's at the laundromat, of course, working or what have you. And her daughter Remy, we got to talk about Remy too. Her
Mhm.
daughter, the first time she looks over, Remy is in her zone, she's coloring or what have you. And then Sid is in her zone. Of course, her mind is going down memory lane. She's having these thoughts, she's in and out of what she's thinking about and what she's focused on. And she realized that her daughter is no longer in the office or in the work area that that they're in or what have you. So she's like, but then she hears her daughter's voice, and she goes over and her daughter. Now, first of all, y'all know stranger danger or what have you. Even though they're back at home, she's back at home in Harlem, but still is just like, okay, my child don't know this guy, and all she sees is like the top of his head. She don't know who this person is, or what have you. I'm trying to paint the picture for you guys, and so. But when he says something and he looks up and she realized first of all, she has a reaction. But when she realized it was him, she really painted it on. And their little come back and forth was hilarious to me. I was like, well, dang. I was like, oh my goodness, Merlana, what was your thought when they first interacted of having seen each other in, was it about 10 years, I think?
It's been a while, yeah.
Outside of her hitting him up in the DMs, and that just
outside of the little internet stalking.
Yes.
So for
Merlana,
that,
what
for
was your
me,
thoughts of that? Go ahead.
that scene, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm pretty sure she saw him. And now I was imagining, you haven't seen him in a minute since you had your little drunk session online, whatever. And then to see him, and like when it's somebody who you've been crushing on, and it's like to see him and he's like this grown man now, and he got this firefighter body, and it's like, you don't want to show him that reaction. So instead, what you do is you give him attitude, and it's like, how dare you? That's this fine. I don't understand. That was the first thing that came to my mind, like, oh, Sydney gonna play it like this? Okay, I see you, sis.
You just
but then
he
was like, in my mind, it was almost like he was like, okay, I got you. I'm gonna play along, right? Which because he gave as good as he got. He was. It was like he won't play
match the energy, right?
I like how Remy, when as soon as I met her and in that scene, I said, kids are usually very forgiving, but they are usually very receptive. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure if Remy thought that was stranger danger or something weird about him, she would not have gotten it comfortable because by the time because by the time she walked over, he was knitting. Because that's what he did. Yeah. He went to go and rewash clothes because he didn't have that many dirty clothes. He went to go rewash clothes and sit over there and knit. And I think it was also because him and the grandfather talked, but a lot of times he went over there in the middle of the night because of his demons. He couldn't sleep. Yeah. So he would just grab clothes, go over there, put them in the washing machine because I guess you had to, like, you got to buy something to stay, right?
Sure, yeah. That's just his like chill out spot.
Yeah.
When nobody's talking to him. No, he doesn't have to talk to family. He doesn't have to like be in his little walls, but he could just be sitting and knitting. If the grandfather's there, he can talk to him for a minute, but he's an older man. He doesn't bother him. He's just like,
right. Yeah, because even in the book, he was like, he'll say his piece, and then he'll let me be. We would kind of speak, have our casualties, and then he was off doing his thing, and I'll be, left to myself and my thoughts and to knit and what have you too. Yeah.
He doesn't have to put on a front or a mask where his brothers will be like, how are you doing? Well, something bothering you? It seems like something's bothering you. None of that's over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he certainly did have his share of that when everything started to unfold. But with Lucas too, I just want to make sure that I'm clear and painting the picture for him. So is it the thing by the time he had that second chance with Sydney, was it because in his mind I think he said some of this, like, so before, the reason why he was with Mama Joy was because they had a fire at their house. And in that fire, the brother was saved, but the mother was lost in that fire. Okay, so then fast forward now, he's in the foster care of Mama Joy, and then he loses Mama Joy.
Yes.
So I kind of figured out with him in the first book that he was going to be a firefighter, and it was going to be something like that, but I wasn't sure. So by the time, and then he had lost Sydney because, again, just wasn't ready. It probably just wasn't the time.
He loved her through school. Like even before school, like she was the girl across the street, but she was just like this perfect girl. Like he from the moment he saw her, he sort of like love at first sight. Like, that teenage love at first sight. He and his brother were in, the foster system, and most people didn't want the two of them. Maybe they wanted them separately or something like that. But Mama Joy took them both in.
Mhm.
So he was happy to be in a
Yeah.
place that was safe for the both of them. And when they got with Mama Joy, he saw that there was this girl across the street, Sydney, and she just it was like love at first sight for him.
Mhm.
So they ended up going to the same school, same neighborhood school, and seeing her in school, she was just very much like very smart girl, that perfect student, things like that. And to get her attention, he was just that boy who would tease her, cut up, and she would just like sort of brush him off, or whatever. He would just be a mess for like just a mess for her. And what he would say is he would just do anything to get a smile or any sort of reaction out of her. He was just a goof, a total goof. And I think she always knew, she did always know that he liked her. And she crushed on him too, but it was just like it was young love. But that kind of young love in a neighborhood like that, everybody else knew. It was one of those everybody knows situations. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. You know what I mean? But her mom always thought like you're too good for him. You got bigger things. You got bigger things to do in life than this kid who just is probably this kid who doesn't really have a future, is not going anywhere, and this, that, and the other thing. You can do better.
He didn't think he was good enough for her either.
Right.
He didn't think he was good enough for her either.
He definitely didn't think he was good enough. Of course he did not. He's had so much tragedy in his life, and he didn't think he had what, he put her on such a pedestal that he felt that she should have, the world. And he didn't think that he could give her the world. He loved her so much, he would never hold her back, by saying something like, I love you, and saying something like, I love you, please, please stay with me, I need you, would hold her back, he felt. So of course he wouldn't do that. He's just not the type to.
Even when you had those flashback moments of when he was thinking about, when they were in school and all that stuff, you could even tell then that, even with like approaching her and saying stuff to her, that he always felt like she was a step above what he he was or deserved or what have you too. So so like, look, if we can move a little bit further, let's talk about that club scene when they dancing in the club. Look, okay, Midnight, I see that look. What you got to say about that scene?
What you thinking, Midnight?
No, I think in a way it was sort of, I told you, I've already said that the couple just kind of wore me out a little bit. And it was those moments where they were together, you figure like, okay, this is it. They're going to come together. But that was not the case. So I just, with that particular scene, it was just like, okay, what more do we need to do? I mean, this was perfect, for them to like seal that fate. But no, KM, you had to take it a step further.
Did you? It was that night. I hope people still pick up the book. We're giving a lot away, but it was that same night, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was the same night. What you wanted to do? Do it on the dance floor?
No, I don't want that. I just wanted them to have a meeting of the minds at that point. And then the drive home.
A meeting of the minds would mean that was the middle of the book. The book would be done. I love how y'all want a meeting of the minds, but then a meeting of the minds, and then we need a dark moment like right after in order for me to put more book in.
Well, you know what? No, because you did have some moments in there too. So I'm a wait until
of the minds. I'm trying to find this meeting of the minds.
That now we need to be together. This is our time right now.
Listen, they had a meeting of butt and groin. Good enough. They had a dance floor meeting of butt and groin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I like that. And I thought that okay, we getting some traction here with this.
They had some hot butt and groin meetings. We had no meeting of the minds here. See now what I have to defend my couple here. What we have to defend here is I'm the queen of the slow burn. If y'all don't like a slow burn, you're not gonna like me because I love a slow burn. What we have to understand here is Sid is coming off of still, she is so newly divorced that she is still trying to like get her divorce money. She's not ready to like jump into a relationship. She is still very untrustworthy.
Look, she's trying to play her cards right, okay?
Yeah, so she is like not ready to like, meet minds. She does not trust. So she is not ready. She might be ready for like sex, yes, but she's not ready to like trust diddly squid and have a meeting of the minds. I mean, she's definitely like hot for Lucas, been hot for Lucas forever, but like to trust is really, really hard for her. She's coming out, she's coming off of a divorce from a pretty jerky guy. I won't say he's totally irredeemable, horrible, but he's a jerk. Almost. He's not a nice man. He's totally like just horrible. Just horrible. Like, and he's not and Kwana, that's abusive, one of the things very much emotionally abusive. Coming from an emotionally abusive marriage, it's hard for her to trust. So even with the hottest, nicest guy like Lucas, and Lucas, I will say Lucas is one of the nicest guys I've ever written when it comes to nice guys. But she's coming off a really, really horrible guy who emotionally abused her. So I don't even trust nobody.
Wow. And I want to, Marlena, I'm going to allow you to talk about that scene, what you enjoyed about that scene, and then I want to jump back to what Kwana is talking about. We definitely got to talk about Red's character a little bit. This is Sid's, guys. If you haven't read the book, this is her ex-husband as well. So Marlena, I'll allow you to, if you want to talk a little bit about that dance floor scene, and then we will talk about her ex-husband and his stuff. We'll say that.
So just to keep it short and quick, that club scene was probably one of my favorites of the book, simply because Sydney surprised me on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Because she came off as like this buttoned up, super like put together. And I was like, ain't no way. And then Sydney got on the dance floor and I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Thank you.
So she surprised me. But then when she was leaving, and I was like, Lucas, you better not let her leave. You better not let her leave. And so I was
for Lucas,
right, like here is if you wanted a moment, your moment is now, sir. So I was happy.
Let her leave, though, isn't it?
I was happy the night ended the way that it did, but Sydney surprised me. I was like, okay.
I agree with Marlena.
Well, what was her friend's name again?
Oh, what is her name? Okay, why am I still thinking about Val? It's not Val. Val is the first friend. Okay, now I gotta look. See, you're gonna make me look.
Cat. Was it Cat?
Was it Cat?
Cat. Thank you.
It was Cat.
So I think Cat had a little bit of Cat had rubbed off on her.
Yeah.
And that at the club. Yeah.
Cat was trying her best. She was trying. I love Cat because she was trying so hard. She was like, if you don't go get that man, you're gonna work my last nerve.
Right. Everybody need a Cat in their life.
Sydney was working Cats, and they were both working Cat's last nerve. She was trying really, really hard.
Look, their text message. I'll just read a little bit. Cat was like, is he out there yet? Sydney was like, he just came. Cat, did he now? She was like, you telling me you got him that riled up that he couldn't hold back? Sydney was like, shut up, you know what I meant out here. He just came out here. Guys, you gotta read the book.
Yeah.
I think Cat was rooting for yeah, she was like, yeah, this guy is
she knew that he was the one. She was like, if my friend don't get some sense.
Yes.
Right. Yes, very much.
Oh my goodness, guys! If you are just joining us, we are hanging out with Kwana Jackson, Midnight Bookbar, and Marlena, and we're talking about Not Again. What did you say, Kwana?
I said Cat was the midnight. If y'all don't hurry up. You got me babysitting. I'm doing everything.
Right.
Listen, she was like, don't worry about Remy. She was like, I got
Thank you so much, Myra.
I'm good, okay?
Appreciate it. Myra, get the first one first, though, please. Myra said, "I'm getting the book tonight." I appreciate it. Get Real Men Knit first, Myra, and then get this one,
and then get Not Again. I love it. Yes. I love it.
Myra,
so, Kwana,
so thank you.
I do want to share a little bit about if you guys have not read the book. Red is her husband. Red was a piece of work. I mean, even if you go back to the scene at the beginning where he called, not too long after she had the incident with Lucas, and he called on the phone or whatever. I'm like, this Red guy is what? And he is a trap. Your little cheating little self.
Sleeping with all the women cheating on and still thinking that that's his woman.
Look, and then and then this guy, I'm like, she was describing all the varieties of women. I was like, well, dang. Marlena or Midnight, your thoughts on his character and his controlling ways too?
Yeah, the controlling ways.
I think I won't speak too much of his character because I think y'all are describing his character great. But that one scene where Sydney was like, "How dare you question me about our daughter being at somebody's friend or her friend's house or something like that?" And then she's like, "You should know all about staying at friend's house." And I was like, "What, Sydney? I can't believe it." But that part, of course, I have it, labeled in the book. But that scene was so funny because she was just coming at me with the surprises. I'm like, girl, I didn't know you had comebacks like this. But okay, keep it coming. But I love that one line. I really did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think she started to. I think for her, it was the proximity of getting out from under him, getting out of the. Getting back home, getting in her element, getting to Harlem and feeling a little bit more in her safe zone, but also the feeling, that mama bear protection of her daughter being like, this is, once she saw that she had to go for her daughter, she was like, this is it. I got to fight for her. So that sort of gave her the backbone that she needed,
Yeah.
So I think that's what, gave her the comebacks. I think, unfortunately, she was doing it for herself, yes, but I think she was doing it more for her daughter. Yeah. She's the type that could take anything to better her if it felt like it was bettering her daughter's life. But when she saw it wasn't bettering her daughter's life anymore, I don't think there was any love for Red for a long time. But as long as her daughter was happy, she was willing to just sort of go along to get along. But when she saw that her daughter was deteriorating, she was like, "Oh, that's it. Gotta go."
Yeah. And I got that vibe too. I don't know if Midnight or Marlena did, but I definitely got that vibe.
Yeah, that was it for her.
What I like what you did with Sydney in that particular situation is that she left because she thought that was the right thing to do, or she wanted to be married. She stayed like most women do because of the security, financial security, and because she wanted her daughter to have both parents in the household. But what I like what you did is that when it did not work anymore, regardless of the financial security or you having the father in the life, in her life in the same household, she still uprooted her.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, people stay in relationships for those very reasons. And so even though you wrote it as such, she went into that situation and she had it. But then I also like the fact that she did not follow in her mother's footsteps, that she broke that barrier. And then she, she came back. And I like that. Even though the mother was telling her, how silly she was for not staying with her, you need to go back to that man or whatever. But what I did not understand is that how she felt like she would not have that financial security for her daughter if she left, because she might not have been able to get alimony, but for certainly she could have, any attorney would have given her, the financial security for her daughter.
I think she knew she could get alimony, but not to sort of live the lifestyle that her daughter was used to living. You know what I mean? With the, you get a certain amount of money, but it wouldn't be to the lifestyle that they were living, a really lavish lifestyle to get all the extra classes for what kids not need, but what kids have today to sort of keep up with the Joneses. Like I have a friend who's an attorney who does lots of different divorces, and we, for researching this book, maybe it's procrastination, but it was actually very good research because we talked about, divorce laws in different states. And I was like, well, where she was getting divorces here in the DC area, but she's moving here to New York. So I was researching divorcing in different states and then moving a child from here to there, and the different alimony things and what you would get from moving here. Like, I went deep. And like,
oh wow.
how, when you haven't been working for this long, and how the husband could play with the money and stuff like that. That's how deep I went in the research, and that's why she was having trouble and would have to renegotiate with him and all that stuff. That's how deep I went in the research for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, because the way you wrote his character, he would have done those things. So
yeah, he would have been a jerk and said, well, I'm only going to give you, I'll give you $500 a month. But if she wants to take, a piano and an extra knitting class, and that won't cover for this and that. And how do we save for college? Well, that's your problem.
Yeah.
She done turned 18 now, and she's like, what? Oh, it would have been that kind of game with him because he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a jerk and he got a new woman, and he had to buy her new implants that month. So he's low on money, is what he was saying. You know how Red would be. You're right. I can hear it because characters are true.
Guys, if you are just joining us, we are hanging out with Kwana Jackson. Guys, we're talking about Not Again. And guys, of course, the time goes by so fast. Oh my goodness, there's still so much to talk about, guys. We left a lot on the table as well. I know, right? The hour goes by so fast. But what I want to do is I want to allow author Kwana Jackson, Midnight Ace Book Bar, Milena, I want you guys to have your lasting thoughts of what you want to say about this book. And Kwana, with yours, if you can share with us your lasting thoughts and what you enjoyed about the book. So I'm gonna allow you to go last. We'll start with Merlana. What is your last thoughts and takeaway from reading Not Again?
My last thoughts are: do not let this colorful cartoon cover fool you. Listen, get this book. The book is funny. It's relatable. It's real. And so I think everybody should just read it. It's really an awesome book. It surprised me because I didn't read the first book. But just read this book, girl. It's a real good book.
Thank you.
There you have it, guys, from Atlanta. She said, just read this book, okay? Midnight Ace Book Bar, what's your last thoughts, my friend?
Right. So I do recommend that you pick this book up. I do also recommend that you do the first one too, so that you can get the sense of the community. But if you like second chance romance and funny as heck, and then flawed characters that actually do heal one another, this is one of those books that you're gonna want to pick up. I mean, it has a little bit of everything in it, so it could really be for a variety of audiences.
Thank you.
I love that. All right, Kwana Jackson, you are up next. Tell us what you enjoyed about writing their story, as well as your last thoughts of the book as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Midnight. Thank you, Marlena. Like I said, this book was actually very hard to write during the pandemic, which was a scary time. But I have to say, I really enjoyed, I'm going to hold it up one more time. I enjoyed writing Lucas and Sid's story. I just love these characters so much. I love that they are flawed and that it's a second chance romance. And bringing them back together was such a joy to me. I love this little laundromat. It feels like a second home to me, just like Strong Knits does now. I can see it in my head. I know the block that it's on. In my heart, it's there. So I appreciate you all for loving it along with me and loving Strong Knits and this whole series. So I hope whoever hasn't read it picks it up, and I appreciate you guys. This hour went so fast. This was fun.
I know.
Thank
you. Kwana, look, and you always bring out something else to my thoughts. And Midnight and Marlena, I'll let you talk about it too. But it's almost like the laundry mat was a character itself. Like it had, just describing the things that went on in the laundromat, all that stuff. Both of them, like we said with Lucas, that was like his spot. Look, until Sid got back.
Right,
but that was his spot where he could go like Midnight said, go rewash his clothes and knit and stuff, or what have you. But yeah, the laundromat was almost like a character in itself. So again, Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much
that.
for
Oh,
bringing us Not Again.
I love that y'all are coming to Harlem with me. This is fun.
Yes,
You know,
yes. I like that. Yeah.
I wanted to
Go
say
ahead,
one more
Midnight.
thing. You know how I'm always, well, you know me, so I don't have to sugarcoat nothing. But you know what? I just cannot wait to find out what is behind the surface with Damien.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have to know. I
Yes.
think, you know,
Y'all
um
tag Berkeley in all your comments and we'll see what happens.
well, I'm going to tell you, Lucas pulled at my heartstrings, because
I agree.
he was so damaged, and not like that he couldn't
Yeah.
be fixed, but he was very damaged, his head and everything. But Damon, even since the first book, something is up with him. I know you.
Something very much is. I will tell
Yeah,
you. I
Oh,
know.
yeah. So I can't wait for him. Is he
I
dead?
will tell you. I will not give a secret. Besides saying that I very much want to do the last two brothers, and I already have outlines written down for them, and there's a lot that I want to say about them and going on. They all have my heart, and
Yeah.
Damien very much so.
Well, I don't want you to tell me
I
anything
love it.
about it. All I want to know is who's next.
I can't say that.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
I'll take that.
You probably know who's next and who's
I don't,
not.
I don't know.
And you probably know who everybody wants to hear about. So you know what I'm going to do then. Because you know I'm an evil person.
I love it. This has been
But even
amazing,
the
boys
next
and
brothers
girls.
will be so exciting too. And like, yeah, and sexy. Because,
Okay, of
why
course.
not? I'm writing them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Goodness, wouldn't
So
it be great
Merlana
if
and
we could
Midnight,
ever
of
cast
course.
these guys and get them on screen?
Oh yeah,
In
that
my
would be
head.
Yeah.
nice.
Ooh,
That would be
that would
nice.
be awesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be
let me
amazing.
teach whatever actors they are how to knit. I'm like, did
Guys,
my husband
yeah.
hear that?
Yes, boys and girls, it has been an amazing time having tea time with author Kwana Jackson, guys, talking about Not Again and hanging out with the amazing Midnight Ace Book Bar and Marlana Platt on today, boys and girls. I'm definitely going to allow all three of these individuals to tell you how you can stay connected with them. If they have anything going on coming up or going on with them, they can share that as well as how you can stay connected with them. We will start with Marlana. If you can tell us how we can stay connected with you, all that good stuff.
So you can stay connected with me on Instagram. I am a blogger on Instagram, a book blogger. My handle is at Facts from Fiction, at facts_from_fiction. So that's where you can find me.
I love it. I love it. Midnight Ace, a book bar. Tell us how we can stay connected with you and what you have going on next. And definitely make sure that you tell the people about the Book Buddy Journal as well. Don't leave that out.
Well, see, this is a new addition to the Custom Creations by Midnight Ace. So not only are you going to have a Book Buddy journal, but you will have a mug too.
I
But
love
anyway,
that.
I am a blogger. I'm everything, y'all.
Yes,
Everything
you are.
books, and a custom creator. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest sometimes, and on my website, all at Midnight Ace Book Bar. Midnight Ace Book Bar. Website is www.midnightacebookbar.com.
I love it. I love it. And author Kwana Jackson, please tell us, my friends, how can we stay connected with you as well and get your amazing books?
Well, you can get my books wherever books are sold. Amazon, Apple, Barnes and Noble, all those places. So just check me out under both names. This is Kwana. I was like, Kwana Jackson, and this is KM Jackson. So just remember to check both names. But everything's on my website at kmjackson.com, and I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And now TikTok, but all under Kwana Writes. So I keep always the same handle, Kwana, KWANA, WRITES, under same handle on all of them. So please please follow me so I don't feel like, the older lady on TikTok, which I am. But hey, somebody's got to be that, right?
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. Well, I just want to tell all of these individuals, thank you, thank you, thank you. Author Kwana Jackson, thank you for
Thank you
accepting
so
the
much.
invitation
This
to
has been a
come to
pleasure.
the cafe for tea time, my friend. Thank you so much, Midnight Ace Book Bar and Milana. Kwana, I just want to let you know when I reached out to these two book nerdigans, they were all in, my
so
friend.
happy
They were
to
all
see you
in.
both. This has been such a joy. I really appreciate it.
Yes,
I've been bouncing around with you for a long time.
And we're going to continue to bounce around for a long time.
Right?
Yes,
You know we
yes.
are.
Guys, if you're not doing so already, make sure you're following author Kwana Jackson. Check out her books, guys. You got Real Men Knit as well as Not Again, and also the Keanu Reeves story.
The longest
as
title
well.
ever, How to Marry Keanu Reeves.
Yes,
in
How to
90
Marry
Days.
Keanu Reeves in 90 Days, boys and girls. You can get that one as well. Any of her books from her backlist. Like she said, go to her website. You can go to her website. You can follow her on social media as well. And make sure, boys and girls, once you read any of her stories, make sure you leave a review. I know she would be so appreciative of that as well.
Yes,
make sure you're following Marlena Platt as well, guys, as Midnight Ace Book Bar. I'm Angela Anderson of Angela's Anderson Presents. Of course, you can follow me here on Facebook. You can follow me, guys. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Angela Anderson's YouTube channel as well. And guys, thank you so much for sending stars. If you're here on Facebook and you're sending stars, if you would like to send stars, there is a shooting star at the bottom near the comments. Feel free to send stars. I'm so appreciative of that as well. It has been an amazing time. Kwana Jackson, she did an amazing book discussion with us, as well as she spilled a little bit of tea as well.
Did. I'm like, oh, my editor, she watches this later. She's gonna be like, why'd you tell that? I really did tell him that secret about Lucas and what he was doing.
Oh, no, look, Kwana, that's a part of the tea time, girl. So we appreciate you.
I really did
a
spill
little
on
tea.
that one. Nobody ever heard that.
See,
Well,
guys,
look, it ain't like our minds didn't already go there. So
Yours did, ma'am. I'm pointing to you. I don't know if I'm pointing at the right box, but I'm pointing to you. Yours is the only one that did.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, as I always say, thank you so much, Veronica. Enjoy your day and your weekend as well. Guys, as I always say, have an amazing day, because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we will see you later, boys and girls. Thank you for hanging out with us. Bye.
Bye.